Last time at the Royal Rumble, the King of Strong Style, Shinsuke Nakamura, outlasted 29 men to win the Royal Rumble and declares he will face AJ Styles for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. Meanwhile, the Usos are coming off a convincing victory in that 2 out of 3 falls match against Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable. What's next for the Usos? Also, who will be the next man to challenge Bobby Roode for the United States Championship? Will it be Kofi Kingston, Zack Ryder, Rusev, or Jinder Mahal? Finally, with Ronda Rousey's arrival in the WWE, how will the SmackDown Women's Division respond? Find out now. Hello everyone, this is the SmackDown Live Synopsis after the Royal Rumble on Wrestling with Green Pinstripes. I'll be talking about this week's SmackDown Live episode, as well as the Mixed Match Challenge, and briefly about 205 Live as they're expecting a new general manager. Let's get right into it, shall we? SmackDown Live kicks off with Shinsuke Nakamura celebrating the Royal Rumble victory this past Sunday, and if you noticed during his promo, he mentioned knees to faces several times. Now, that reminded me of CM Punk, because he had a t-shirt that said knees to faces to taking shot at The Rock during his rivalry back in 2013. So, my question is Nakamura bringing the GTS back, or is he going to be using it as a tribute to his colleague Hideo Itami? God knows what. But as usual, Nakamura gets interrupted by Sammy KO. I almost said Cammy, but yes, Sammy KO interrupts and claims that they were screwed out of the championship, and they had visuals from this past Sunday. And yes, there is a bit of a good point, because there was no legal man. Kevin Owens was not the legal person being pinned. So yeah, there is a good point, but nothing really happened to that. So AJ Styles is still the WWE champion. And of course, AJ Styles comes out, says that we will have that dream match, but tonight, let's have a dream team. And he proposes that it would be him and Nakamura versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Initially, Sami Zayn said nope. But AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura punched both of them after that, near the end of the segment, so that's where we're going to be heading to the main event. Up next is the Fatal 4-Way match for the number 1 contender for the United States Championship. For the Fatal 4-Way match, there was a backstage segment where Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn went up to Daniel Bryan, and Bryan did approve the tag team match that's set for tonight. And he also said that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn will face each other for the number 1 contendership to face AJ Styles at Fastlane in March. After that, the Fatal 4-Way match took place. It was a decent match to start the first hour of the show, and it was definitely funny to see Big E throwing pancakes at Graves. I mean, I don't know why, but my guess is that Graves was bad-mouthing the New Day back on Raw when they were the Raw Tag Team Champions, when they had the longest reign ever, and I think Big E wanted to get some revenge, so he threw bits and pieces of pancakes at Corey Graves. I mean, yeah, I thought it was unnecessary, but at the same time, it's kind of funny, so I'm kind of mixed emotions there. But of course, one of the Singh brothers accidentally bumped into Big E and made the pancakes drop, and then the referee decided that he doesn't want any of this, so he threw Big E, Xavier Woods, one of the Singh brothers, and Aiden English out of the ring, and therefore it left only just the competitors at ringside. And you could tell Rusev was pretty mad when Aiden English was ejected from ringside. So I meant Jinder did look strong, but at the end of the day, Rusev won on Rusev Day, so happy Rusev Day, everybody. Rusev will face Bobby Roode next week on SmackDown for the United States Championship. So that is that, and afterwards, the Usos cut a promo from in the dark with a fence behind them. I meant it definitely makes a lot of sense because they have that gimmick of being in the Uso penitentiary. So I meant that makes perfect sense for that to have a darkness and the cage in the background. And I know after the commercial break, Fashion Files returned for a brief moment, but obviously that was not meant to be, as Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable crashed the Fashion Files office and challenged Breezango to a tag team match. Afterwards, the Usos came out for a promo stating they have done pretty much it all. They've done it all. They faced all the tag teams on SmackDown, as well as defeating the Bar at Survivor Series. So, I mean, they pretty much said that they're the most dominant tag team on SmackDown, and they've done it all. And then afterwards, the Bludgeon Brothers came out, which probably is a segue to their match. After the commercial break, the Bludgeon Brothers faced off against local competitors from Philly or the Philadelphia metro area, and it was a quick match because the Bludgeon Brothers are establishing themselves as a heel tag team. And, of course, that's that. And they were teasing the commentary that the Bludgeon Brothers could face the Usos down the road, so let's see what happens. I mean, I know the Usos faced the Bludgeon Brothers back when they were part of the Wyatt family, years back, so let's see what happens. That's all I could say. Let's see what happens. I know afterwards, the Daniel Bryan mentioned that there's going to be a SmackDown top 10 ranking. So it's kind of like a power ranking that, every sports league puts out, the NFL power ranking, NHL. So for SmackDown, there's going to be a power ranking for each competitor. That's what Bryan mentioned. And afterwards, there was a segment between Ty Dillinger and Shane McMahon, and I know Ty Dillinger was not very happy because Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens robbed Dillinger of a chance to be in the Rumble. And of course, Corbin came in and was pretty angry himself because he got eliminated early from the Rumble. And of course, Ty Dillinger made a savage comment saying that about his Money in the Bank briefcase. So yes, that was pretty savage. But and of course, Corbin takes it pretty personal. Well, to be fair, that was an embarrassing moment for Baron Corbin to lose his Money in the Bank contract to Jinder Mahal on a random episode of SmackDown. So that's that. But yeah, I meant there could be a match later tonight. If not, then I will definitely mention it later on. After the commercial break, Charlotte Flair came out for a promo addressing Asuka's Royal Rumble victory this past Sunday, as well as Ronda Rousey's appearance. And surprisingly, the crowd in Philly were booing when Charlotte mentioned Ronda Rousey. Afterwards, out came the Riot Squad, and I know that Ruby Riott cut a decently good promo compared to her past promos since joining the SmackDown roster. It's been it's been better, and I know that Ruby Riott has mentioned the fact that Charlotte is arrogant, which I cannot really disagree with because back when Charlotte was a heel, she was extremely arrogant. That I can definitely agree with that, and I know that all three gave Charlotte a near beatdown. I mean, Charlotte did get some offense in, but at the end, the three of them beat down Charlotte, and Carmella almost cashed in Money in the Bank, and I got excited for a second, but unfortunately, it was not meant to be, as Charlotte got up and accidentally kicked the ref, and Carmella decided, no, not today. I'm taking my briefcase back. I'll cash in some other time. So yeah, I almost got excited for a second, but I am glad that Carmella was smart and did not pull a Baron Corbin. That's one thing. I think she learned from that experience watching Baron Corbin that do not pull a Baron Corbin. Just you gotta cash in smart. You gotta use your head. After the commercial break, Ty Dillinger and Baron Corbin faced off in a match. Decent match, nothing too special. It was a passable match. Baron Corbin wins in predictable fashion. And after the segment, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn were talking about the match that's going to take place in the main event where they face off against AJ and Nakamura, as well as the number one contenders match for next week's SmackDown, where they were talking about if one of us fails. That's the key word, if one of us fails. So let's see what happens next week. Also, in a promo where Rusev Day mentioned that he's going to face Bobby Roode, he referred to him as Bob Roode, and of course Roode responded with his own mobile promo with the calendar in the background where he writes down Rusev Day next week, and of course he writes down Glorious. I thought that was pretty clever to use a calendar for Rusev Day, because every day is Rusev Day. After the break, an impromptu match took place between Breezango and Vengeables. I thought it was an okay match. I mean, it was definitely out of thin air because their focus, there was so many commercials, and that when it came back from the break, it was all four in the ring. So yeah, that was pretty random. But yeah, I mean, it was an alright match, and plus it was following up from the Fashion Files segment earlier. And as I said in past podcasts, that the Fashion Files definitely has to evolve. I mean, it's been a fun run, but it's time to move on from Fashion Files and evolve the series somehow, because they've pretty much done it all at this point. That's all I could say. They pretty much have done it all. Main event time as AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura face off against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Originally, Kevin and Sami were on the same page, but then somewhere in the middle, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn started to argue, which led to Sami Zayn walking out before the commercial break. Let's see what happens after the commercial break. After the commercial break, AJ Styles was in control of Kevin Owens during the match, and Sami Zayn did get back into the ring, but of course Kevin and Sami would resume arguing, and which this time was costly, as Sami Zayn did walk out again, but this time for good. I don't blame him for that, because he was getting ready for his mixed match challenge match that would take place after SmackDown would go off the air. At the end of the match, AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura win the match. After the match, Sami mentioned that his friendship with Kevin Owens isn't exactly over, but he is tired of being overlooked, so makes you go, Overall, SmackDown was a decent show. I'm going to give it a B. Not a B plus or B minus, but just a solid B. I mean, it was a pretty good show. But wait, it's not over yet, because I will also be talking about the Mixed Match Challenge, which features the birthday girl, Becky Lynch, happy birthday to her, and Sami Zayn taking on Alexa Bliss and Braun Strowman from Monday Night Raw. Alexa Bliss used to be a member of SmackDown, but this is the Mixed Match Challenge, and I gotta say, even though Alexa Bliss and Braun Strowman won the match, it was still a pretty fun match. It was very fun to watch. I know that Becky and Alexa had a lot of history from the 2016 era of SmackDown, so they definitely ended where they definitely started where they left off before the Superstar shakeup of last year. So it was definitely fun to see that part, and of course, Sami Zayn did had a brief rivalry with Braun Strowman on Raw before the Superstar shakeup around late 2016. So of course, Sami Zayn was being a bit of a cowardly heel, and I know he did go outside of the ring and grabbed Braun's beard, but Braun didn't want any of that. And of course, while that was taking place outside the ring, Alexa Bliss knocked out Becky Lynch, and that led to Alexa Bliss pinning Becky Lynch 1-2-3. Therefore, Monday Night Raw is 3-0 against SmackDown so far in the Mixed Match Challenge, but it's for charity, so it doesn't really matter. After the Mixed Match Challenge went off the air, it was 205 Live, where at the start of 205 Live, SmackDown General Manager Daniel Bryan came out and mentioned that the new General Manager for 205 Live is formerly known as Rockstar Spud, but currently known as Drake Maverick. Drake Maverick mentioned that there will be a 16-man elimination tournament, single elimination tournament to be correct, that will take place throughout 205 Live, with the finals taking place at WrestleMania. And I thought that was a pretty good idea. I mean, I definitely like the idea that they're rebooting 205 Live into a better show, because after what happened with the Enzo Amore and his sexual harassment allegations, I do believe it was time to go tabula rasa, clean slate on everything. The first match of 205 Live was between Cedric Alexander and Grand Metalik, and I thought it was a decent match to start the show. I know at that point, Philadelphia was pretty tired by then, because they've had 4 nights, straight nights of wrestling. They starting from NXT TakeOver, and now it's 205 Live, and I mean, the crowd was a bit mild, but it was still a pretty good match, nonetheless. The next match was between Tyler Bate, for the former UK champion, against TJP, the inaugural Cruiserweight champion. So, both the former and inaugural champions in their own rights. Both of them faced off, and it was definitely a pretty good match between Tyler Bate and TJP. And at the end, TJP steals a victory from Tyler Bate to advance to the next round. So both Cedric Alexander and TJP, both from the original Cruiserweight Classic, will be advancing to the next round. Next week's 205 Live will feature NXT superstar Roderick Strong. So I got a feeling that 205 Live is going to be pretty interesting this tournament heading into WrestleMania. That's all I gotta say for the SmackDown Live synopsis, as well as talking about a mixed match challenge and 205 Live. Well, what do you expect? Tuesday nights for WWE is three different programs: SmackDown, Mixed Match Challenge, and 205 Live. What I would recommend for the future is that 205 Live moves to 7 p.m. because at 10:30 it is pretty taxing to have a 205 Live after SmackDown goes off the air. It can be pretty taxing, so I think it's a better idea to move 205 Live to 7 o'clock, and then you got SmackDown at 8 o'clock, and then after SmackDown goes off the air, you get the Mixed Match Challenge, which is only 15 minutes that on Facebook, so it's not that bad. So 205 Live, SmackDown, and then the Mixed Match Challenge after 10, because it kind of is like a dark match. That's all I gotta say. It's kind of like a dark match. Alright, that's it for the SmackDown Live synopsis. I'll be back later on, maybe a quick video, and this is it. The Royal Rumble weekend is officially over. Have a great week, everyone, and I'll see you next time on Wrestling with Green Pinstripes.